Hello guys! Recently I got asked 3 big questions about the current state of Who from a fan who's been watching Doctor Who for over 40 years. He knows I'm manic about it, so it's about time that I looked at the questions and see what I say about it. The first question my friend asked was, what do you think of the current state of Who? Well, that is something I do not like answering, because I don't think it's in a very good or very productive state. I think over the last 5 years, I think it's been periodically ignored. I think the BBC are less interested in the product all around, because it seems to be they're putting their money in TV shows like the Line of Duty and the Midwife one. I forget what it's called because I genuinely don't like it. I don't think it's Jodie's fault. I think Jodie is a very, very approachable and very watchable Doctor. I think they've made a legitimate mistake putting the writer from Broadchurch, Chris Chibnall, in as head, because some of the stories are just too rule making and shouting in your face. But that's not Jodie's fault. I think Jodie has been a very, very good Doctor, but I just think the writing has been very subpar for several of her big episodes. I think it's Raznov Avkolos, is that how it's said? You'll have to excuse my dyslexia. I'm not the best at saying things, but it has to be said that I am not happy with the way season 11 went. Chris Chibnall specifically went out of his way to make things different. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It just makes old fans like me worry, because they tried to do that in the late 80s, even though they did put old foes in, and it didn't work for Colin Baker. Now, why would it work for Jodie Whittaker? Maybe it's because in this era we're more approachable, but what they're also forgetting is the creation of Twitter, Facebook. As soon as an episode comes out now, every single hater comes out from beneath a rock, and it's got to be said, it's not put in a very good light. Because, I mean, you look at episode 1 of season 11, that was groundbreaking, as the first female Doctor got a really solid, good episode. Then the second episode was interesting, to say the least, to see how downcast and trodden the previous years of the previous regeneration were suddenly reflected on the new one. But then, I've got to say, from then, I don't think it really went well. The Rosa one was superb if they were looking for rewards, which I think they were, to try and make it current and relevant. But I've got to say, I wasn't happy with it. I think the whole of Series 11 was just like a stopgap. It felt like they were prequels to actual episodes. Like the season finale was poor. I think Graham suddenly turning into Sylvester Stallone just didn't suit the series with his comical wit. I wasn't connected with Ryan. I think he stood around like a statue, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. And again, it carried on into season 12. The one person, or the two people that I feel sorry for in this current run of Doctor Who, is Yasmin Khan and the Doctor. But when it comes to series 12 and the current run, it has to be said, I did enjoy series 12. There was the return of Captain Jack in that Judoon episode, which I've got to admit blew my mind. The Timeless Children was interesting. I do think it's going to get put under the bridge and forgotten about. It can also be said that when it comes to stuff like this, The ending of the Timeless Children going into the Dalek special was how quick they'd forgotten about it. But the thing is, it's not just the TV show that is struggling. They're overpopulating and oversaturating the 10th Doctor in other multimedia things such as Big Finish and the comics. Like recently we've seen the 10th Doctor team up with the 13th Doctor, I think it's the 4th or 5th time. We're seeing the 10th Doctor team up with the 4th Doctor in Big Finish. And at the moment it just seems to be that David Tennant is everywhere when it comes to Time Lord Victorious, for example. But the current iteration of the Doctor when it comes to Jodie has got a lack of support, because I genuinely think the BBC have been paying attention to Twitter and Facebook, because things just don't look well after an episode. Doctor Who could deliver a barnstorming episode like The Fugitive and the Judoon, and all I read for the first 2 hours was how people hated it and how Jodie was slated in it. Considering to Joe Martin's Fugitive Doctor, everybody had love for it. I don't know where it goes from here, but I know what I would do if I was to. The next big question is, what would I do to change it if it was me? That is a very, very large, broad question. But personally myself, I wouldn't let Jodie regenerate. In recent weeks, I've seen in videos that there is strong rumours that Jodie is leaving in 2022. But if it was me, I would try and hang on to her, and I would try and slowly move Chris Chibnall onwards. Maybe we can do a 3-way partnership. Split it between T. Davis, Moffat, and Chibnall. But if those two legends don't want to do it, maybe we should get a couple of writers in who can. I mean, you look at the recent series of Marvel in the MCU when it comes to Loki. He seems to be teaching everyone a lesson on how to do productive time travel within a TV series. Myself, I think Loki is doing the right thing as Doctor Who is doing the wrong thing. Marvel is giving fans what they want. Doctor Who seems to be giving fans what they don't need. And all you have to do is look at Orphan 55 for that. Recently I found myself asking questions of, while I'm watching Loki, why isn't Doctor Who doing this? I'm watching shows like Umbrella Academy. Their second season had fundamental time travel in it, and it's done it better than Doctor Who has done it in about 6 years. What would I do to change it? I think the previous way of doing things is working closely with the advertisement team. There used to be better trailers, the shops used to be full of toys, there used to be posters, they used to be on trains, buses, they used to be everywhere. You couldn't move in Wales without seeing Doctor Who merch somewhere. They were on t-shirts, they had mugs, they had figures. Now you're lucky to get a dusty cabinet at the back of a room in Liverpool, which I saw myself. I walked around the shop for about 35 minutes and I came away with 2 books. Both of them were in the Capaldi era. But what I would do is, instead of trying to find unique, politically driven writers, I know Doctor Who has always been heavy and steep on political things within Doctor Who. I mean, all you have to do is watch the John Pertwee ones, or hell, even the David Tennant ones, and there's political ramifications all over that. Fans just want fun. They just want to be sat down on a Saturday and have their socks blown off watching the telly. That's all they want. They're not asking for much. They're not asking to be told how to save the planet. With plastic, we've already had 18 months of that during this lockdown and COVID. We've had it. I don't think throw in current day political changes that can be made in episodes is not a very good move, especially with the way Chibnall has done it. He threw it in the faces of Over 55, and he also did it with the BLM movement for Rosa, which is something I can get behind. But I don't think things like that should be put into a children's Saturday night TV show. What they did is they need to try and get the figure like Line of Duty. They need to get good writers with good stories and a fundamental frame of A to B to C to D when it comes to writing. I have a degree in drama and theatrical writing. I know how to put a story together. And when I'm watching some episodes, I'm scratching my head wondering how it got through the production. I think one of the big ones was, what was the pregnant one called? The one where the man's pregnant and the doctor gets blown on a mine in a scrapyard. I thought that episode in series 11 was unbelievably messy. And they need to, I think they need to start doing boards where people sit down, when there's like a gang of 15 or 16 lucky fans that get to watch at least one episode of the new season, which is rendered, ready to go, and marked out to see if it is ready and it's acceptable for television. Because I think the current iteration of Who, I think there's about 3 or 4 episodes in each season, with the episodes dropping, like we're getting 8 this year, as of talking in 2021, and apparently we're getting 2 specials in 2022. Personally, myself, I think that's poor. I think there should be at least 2 specials in a series a year. If that was me, that's the way I would be running it. I know it's hard on current Doctors, but the thing is, if we are running on 3 Doctors, a few specials and a regen, I think that's the perfect political model. Personally, that's what I would put the model as. I would work it within its means. If Capaldi could do 3 seasons, Tennant could do 3 seasons and a lot of specials, and Matt Smith and Jodie Whittaker seems to be suffering from one series, 12 to 14 months off. Okay, they are doing filming in the middle of all that and tours, and what they want to do is they would need to get back to production quantity, not quality. I understand the filming and the quality means a lot to Chris Chibnall, but at the moment I think a lot of people would agree with me. They would prefer more understandable and relatable stories to make the show a little bit more approachable. The final question is something I'm going to save for another video, because he asked me what my idea was for the 60th, and half of me is worried, the other half of me is panicking, because I genuinely believe that the BBC and Chris Chibnall just don't have an idea for it. So over the next coming weeks, keep an eye on my channel, because I will be coming up with the ideas for the 60th. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And if you have anything else to say, put it in the comments below. See you later.